Hey, I'm here
Howdy,
typing
howdy, man.
away.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much.
Intro's good as always.
I'm telling you,
Man,
I
you
like
made
that
that
one.
you made that thing over 3 years ago, and it still works.
I'll tell you. So I was looking yesterday, and it was December 22nd of that would have been. Well,
Hmm.
let me check. Let's see here. Darn it, if I forgot. I had the date, but I know it's December 22nd. Let's see here.
Yeah, it was a little over 4 years ago, or 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago.
December 22nd of 2021
Yeah,
was the first stream when you had reached out and wanted to, start doing lives and all that kind of stuff. So,
that was a wild one, wasn't it?
wow. Yeah, that one was
It was
crazy.
it was gonna be you and me, and then we had like 7 or 8 guys on there, and
Yeah.
it was it
Greg
was
got
fun.
on
It was
there.
fun though. It
Jose
was fun though.
came
I was
in.
hooked. I was hooked after that. Yeah, we had all kinds of folks on there. It was cool.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. Yeah.
And then I think, we went up and we did one the next week, I think on my channel to try it out. Kind of the first what you might call the stream team, although we didn't really know what we were doing, then we didn't call it that. But
Right,
met
right.
met like at the conference a couple of days later, and then we just kind of started doing it. And I think Greg coined the term stream team right there, the beekeeping jet or stream team, maybe at the conference shortly after that. And then you came up with that logo, the intro there, and we did a
Yeah,
few there where we kind of made our own intros, but that one Greg
right.
has the one that he likes to do too. But anyway, it's been a
Yeah.
it's been a great time last 3 years. But
Oh, yeah.
so you guys might be able to tell we don't have Greg on here with us tonight, at least not yet. He's got something he's taking care of this evening, but maybe he'll come on later, maybe not. But in the meantime, I thought we just Brian, we talked about just talking bees. It's gonna be
Chat,
fun.
chat away. Yeah. So I'll tell everybody too. We're going to have Michael from 21st Bees is going to jump on at some point here tonight, and we're going to be doing some giveaways. So I'll let him disclose all those details. So you're just going to hang out. You're going to have to watch. We're not just going to do this right away and then everybody's going to take off. You got to stick with us tonight. So, but like that little banner says across the bottom, and let me just check it to make sure that it's collecting entries. And it did. It did. So Highland Honey there was watching that. But type in its hashtag infinity frame and that will be an entry. So we're going to spin it, but that'll be once we get Michael on here, and we chat about those frames and things like that. But yeah, it's it'll be a fun one tonight. So I do want to say, Matt, thank you so much for. Let me highlight that. Let me see here. Let me go to the comments. Starred. Look at that new member. Matt, I got to thank you, buddy. Every little bit it just helps out so much, when we're doing this stuff. It's a lot of time and it's a lot of work that we put into this. So organizing things and
Well, when you think about the last 3.5 years, not quite 3.5 years, but over 3 years of doing this, almost 3.5 years, and average maybe what a couple hours every time, probably average, maybe a
yeah,
little bit less than that, but that's a
yeah,
lot of time just on the chat here. But then also the work that kind of goes into everything else with the channels, and
oh yeah,
and equally we have to recognize all the time that the viewers and the community puts into this too when they're here.
right,
Those some of these folks on here tonight, I don't recognize some of the names, and some of them have been on here since the very start. So we
yeah,
certainly do appreciate all the time that you guys dedicate to this thing, and being a part of this community. It's so important to us, and man, it's just really cool.
yeah,
Who knew? I mean, I don't think we had any idea how long we would do this when we first started, but it's been a lot of fun. So
right,
we're
yeah,
still, I mean, I kind of feel like if we have a Wednesday night when we're all kind of busy or whatever, it's usually one of us tries to hop on just because we gotta keep it rolling. And it's just like last week, or was it last week when you guys? I think I had
La-
Keith on, or was it the week before?
last week, yeah, last week. So while you were on chatting
Yeah, with
with
Keith. That's
Keith,
right. Hmm.
um, I was over in my honey room cleaning and just, I've been trying to not get behind on things as my yard's been growing. Um, I've been trying just to keep up with tasks, and it's like, you get to a point that um you got to take a night off and you just got to work. So
Yeah.
um
And it was totally cool, Greg. So we, but I felt, and it was really neat to have Keith on here. He's just a great guy. He's a really good beekeeper, and we had a good time with that. So appreciate
yeah,
everyone checking Keith and me out. I know Keith hit a milestone with his channel, I guess today or in the last couple of days. He
3
hit 3
million
million views, and so
is
that's a big
crazy.
deal. So
Yeah,
Keith, I see you in the comments here. Thanks for coming on last week and helping keep this thing rolling. But
yeah.
we do feel we feel the love, so to speak. We feel also, the obligation and the commitment to hopefully be able to provide something that folks continue to want to watch. But anyway, man, so what's going on up in there in your neck of the woods, Brian, besides rain?
Nothing much. Let me address this question here just real quick though.
Sure.
For these frames tonight, um it's got to be within just because of the weight that is involved with these frames. They are bulky. They're they're standard width and everything like that, standard dimensions, but there is weight on them. Because of the weight and the shipping cost, it's got to be within the continental US, the 48 states. So that's just something that George, I appreciate that, buddy. That's just something that I had spoke to Michael about, and it's just like, to ship some of those things internationally, it just, I mean, it would probably, well, gosh, I don't even know what the shipping would be. But that's something that I think he could probably speak more to. But for these giveaways, just for the sake of shipping rates and things like that, it's just got to be within the continental US. So, but now that that's all done, and we'll address more about the giveaways, when he joins in. But as far as up here, I'll tell you, the yard is looking good. Um, I'm sitting as of Sunday about, and this is an odd time to increase in my for numbers, but as of James, thank you so much there, man. I think you were a member before, but thank you for rejoining. But as of Sunday, I think it was probably about 9:30 at night. I collected a swarm that when my brother and sister-in-law were down at my mom's and we did a bunch of yard work over there that I was talking about, we had a brush pile that we stacked up and we didn't get to burning it yet. Well, my mom texted me, and the wife and I were at the movies, and I get out and I look at my text and it says, "There's a swarm in the brush pile." So I called and I said, "Is it still there?" And she said, "Yeah, it's about 4 feet off the ground." So I
Those are the fun
literally,
ones. Those are the fun ones.
I literally held the Apame, the 7 framer, and I had, it's almost like, Bruce, you do things that at the time of when you do it, you're like, you know what? I don't know why I'm putting this together because I didn't use it at all last year. It's been 2 years since I've used that Apame, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to set this thing up. So that Wednesday, when I was over there while you were on here, I scraped like the frame rests and everything inside, got it all cleaned up, got 7 frames in both boxes. I set up both boxes, had it all sitting there. So my mom called and said about that swarm. I told my wife, she said, "How long is it going to take you to get this?" I said, 5 minutes. I said, "If it's how I think it is, 5 minutes." I literally grabbed that Apame and literally everything was set. I had frames with drawn comb in it, other ones that weren't. And I literally just held it underneath of it, gave the brush pile one of those swift shakes. The whole darn cluster fell down in it. I set the second box on it and shut it up.
You have a double stacked. After that, you got a super as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't
no,
have
it's
any of
just
those.
it's two deeps, but it's just 7 frames
Oh,
stacked.
it's okay.
So in a sense, it's like 14 frames.
So yeah,
I
so
mean,
it's an Apame and then an Apame Super 7 frame.
yeah.
Okay, I got you. Yeah,
So, but yeah,
yeah.
it's good. I mean, and the yard itself, um, the colonies are. I've got some of my packages that are already in a second box. I when I checked them, they were 8 and 9 seams when I'm looking down in there. So I thought, well, if they're working, if they're on that number of frames, let me add on my super. So I've got the first super on a couple of them. Now I'm that super that I add on is always going to be for them. So, but things are progressing along. My other colonies, um, they're progressing along too. My first one that I split, I checked it, and there were cells that were emerged. So it's just with our weather, it's been a little crazy, and I think it's kind of set back some of the mating flights. Uh, so that colony is on its way. I had to split another one, and then one of my packages, I lost a queen in one of my packages. So I ended up one of my colonies that I had to split. There was another frame that literally had two perfectly capped cells on it. I literally took a frame of eggs out of my resource colony, dropped it in there, took the frame that had the two nice cells on it, and this would have been from one of my better queens, dropped those cells in that thing too. So it'll be fine. I mean, overall, the yard it's taken shape. I think once the cold weather up here, because like today we were 53 degrees, rainy, um,
Golly.
almost June, but
Mm.
we were 53 degrees today. Um, but once the weather kind of turns around, I think those colonies are just going to just take
Explode.
off. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the forecast for the next few days?
Uh, I just looked at this the other day, and tomorrow it's going to be 71, but like another day of precipitation. Friday 67 rain, and then Saturday 61. And then after that, we're going to warm, like Sunday 69 and sun, Monday 77, partly cloudy, sunny, Tuesday 86, sunny. So we're after this, the next like 5 days, things are going to flip. So, but yeah, um, it's just waiting it out. I mean, up here, that's just what it's like, though. I mean, we typically we get these cold spells. That's why up here, the general rule of thumb is, and I usually am about 2 or 3 weeks before this, but the general rule of thumb that a lot of people put in gardens and plant their flowers, it's Memorial Day weekend because of these cold spells that we get up here.
Yeah, we don't have that problem down here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
been I actually on Saturday I was out there, maybe it was Monday. I think it was Saturday I was out there and it got so hot I had to just stop. I was out there and the video it's almost ready. It'll be dropping here if not tomorrow, either Friday, maybe soon. It's about ready. I got the thumbnail and everything ready for it. So but I've tried to, I did some grafting of some queens this year, and I went out and got the little mating nukes ready to go, dropped the queen cells in them, and by the time I was done with all that, I had to stop. I was kind of got into that overheated stage. And I thought
Mhm.
about, I don't know if we talked about it, but I thought about that cloak board setup where I grafted into that, and I had a pretty good little take. I think I ended up with 20 or 21 cells out of it, and out of 30, which is not great, but it's, they looked like
That's
pretty good cells. And so we'll see
yeah.
how they do. But um, I don't know. I was going to just kind of reset up the clipboard and do it again. And then I thought, the hardest part of that to me is getting all the logistics, the mating nukes all ready to go, getting the,
Mhm.
grafting and creating the cells is not the hard part. That's actually, the physically it's pretty easy. Even setting up the clipboard system is not horrible. Or if you want to do it however you do it, it's doable. But the hardest part, the most physical part for me, is just getting all those mating nukes ready to go. I guess if you use mini mating nukes, it may not be quite as bad, but I just use little 2-frame nukes. I use some Apame, 7-frame Apames. I split them in half, and then I actually use some 5-frame nuke boxes because I just had to. And so I was thinking, if I do it again, then where I'm going to find all the resources to set up, 20, 25 more mating nukes or 30 or whatever. And do I want to do that in early June when it's, low 90s outside and humid and like it was Saturday?
Right.
And
Right.
I've got a good source of queens or more. I've got, if I got some from Greg or Zach or whoever I get my queens from, I got some good sources of
Right.
queens. I got some other resources as well. So it's much cheaper and it's wise to make your own queens. But my issue with making queens has always been, it's just a time thing for me. I just working full time and trying to run 100 plus colonies and trying to make my own queens and doing this and doing that. It's hard. It's hard enough for me to keep up without doing that. But I think we had 21 successful takes. We'll see how they turn out. We'll see how many of them actually get mated and work out. They're right there sitting by that apple and bee yard where I've got, 40 plus colonies sitting there. So there's plenty of drones around. So they should get mated. Young guy, Jeremy, helped me. That's good. That's good. 62 Latour. Very, very nice. 78% on your graphs. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess if I had 20 out of 30, that's 66%. And maybe I think it was 21 actually. So, whatever that is,
That's not
close
bad,
enough.
though.
It's close enough. I mean, I would have liked to have seen it better, but everything worked out good. And the other thing I ran into was when I went to pull those cells out, my plan was just to slide the slider back in the clipboard and
Mhm.
just kind of close it off, go back a couple days later and graft again. But with the honey flow we have coming in right now with the tallow, they were backfilling everything with honey. And so I would have had to basically go through colonies, find brood, reset that thing up again. The population of bees was tremendous to do it, but there was just no way. I was like, I don't want to go to that effort. And I had to do it that day pretty much on Saturday. And I was like, I just don't think I'm going to do that. So I'm
Yeah.
happy with what I got. I've got enough colonies right now, I think. So as far as videos go, that video will be dropping here pretty soon. I got a couple other things coming, in the pipeline, maybe at least one other video I've got an idea on. But one thing I've been doing the last week or two, after we harvested honey the weekend after Mother's Day, so I guess about 10 days ago now, or 12 days, whatever it was, Friday and Saturday of the whatever those dates were. Anyway, almost 2 weekends ago now, we harvested honey and pulled the spring honey off. We got 64 boxes, 64 supers, which ended up being about 34 buckets. And I've been worried because we had I thought it was going to be a record spring crop. It wasn't record. It was about like last year, I think. Maybe even, it was around the same number, maybe a little bit less than last year. Very similar amount of honey. And about probably the first week in May, somewhere in that time frame, like the bees were bringing it in, all that spring honey, and then it just literally stopped. Like it's like if you got a water hose or a water spigot and somebody just turns it off. Like, I put my simple comb, everything in there. There was like that was right at the tail end of that spring flow. It may have even cut off by that day. And it was literally probably 2 to 3 weeks before we saw it. I mean, it just was nothing coming in. Actually, when we pulled the honey supers for our honey harvest, some of the boxes, I think they were starting to kind of get up and eat some of that honey. Like they were starting to go through some of their stores a little bit because it just literally stopped. And I was like, man, this is horrible. But I did the video on the tallow. If you saw that video where I did it, kind of what tallow is and what it looks like. And it was just about ready to go. It was just starting to lay over and do its thing. And the day we pulled honey, that Friday, I got shot a little bit of footage in that harvesting video of the bees working that tallow. And that may have been that day or a day or two before then when it turned on. But boy, when it turned on, it just has been nuts. And tallow is interesting because it doesn't all bloom at the same time. A lot of flowers, they all bloom at the same time. With tallow, you'll have it's like this kind of like in stages. Like you'll have one tree that's blooming and the first trees, and then there's another tree like a week later. So about 2 or 3 weeks, you got trees blooming, and they just kind of, so you've got a long flow during the tallow flow. And then they'll put on a secondary bloom after that sometimes, but the bees don't do much with that in my experience. Once the initial flow is over, they don't seem to do a lot with that second flow. So, but they're packing it in. I put up a reel on social media 3 days after I stacked the boxes, 2 to 3 days after I stacked the boxes on there on that Saturday after we harvested. I went back to Apple Farm, stacked the boxes on. I put up a video where there was, I'd taken that hive had, the colony had 2 deeps, queen excluder, and a medium, and 2 deep and 2 medium, 3 mediums on top of that. We harvested 2 of the mediums off of there. I put those 2 mediums back on, and 3 days later they were full of nectar. Now they weren't capped, but they had filled that thing up like in 2 to 3 days, 2 more medium supers. So
Oh
now
my
all
God.
the colonies were not that motivated and doing that well. That was the only one that day when I peeked in on a few that I saw did that. But when I saw on the lid that we had pulled 2 supers, and I lifted that lid up and looked in there and pulled the frame out and saw it was full of nectar, I was like, oh my gosh. And it's just been crazy. So what I did this weekend, I think I did this on Monday. I went around to my bee yards, and I did what I call, and this is controversial. Some people may not believe in this, but this is what I did in order to maximize my honey production. I call it robbing from the poor to give to the rich. We talk about those 1 talent, 2 talent, 5 talent hives.
Mm-hmm.
I have some hives that are in a single deep and a queen excluder and a medium that haven't filled the medium up with honey yet. I mean, they're alive. They seem to be surviving. There are bees in the bottom box. I have some double deeps with queen excluder and a medium that haven't filled the medium out with honey yet. They're just kind of slowly working at it. And so I'm like, well, why would I leave that box on there when I got the one that filled up 2 supers in 3 days sitting next to it, a couple of pallets down? And so I just take those supers off, stick them on the ones that are packing it in, just let them finish it up. And I think if I do that, I'll be able to maximize my honey flow a little bit that way, because I'm basically out of comb. I'm out of comb. I don't have any boxes of comb left. And I did actually, I went to Slocum on Monday after, Memorial Day, after I had checked everything else out. And I actually got some boxes and put some new foundation in there, and I just slapped them on there. I don't know if they'll do anything with that, because we're kind of in the middle towards the end of our flow, probably another 10 days, maybe at the most, of our flow. But some of them are just so packed out, you pull the box apart, pull the lid off, and there's just honey dripping everywhere. So I was like, well, I might as well just slap that on there and just see if they'll draw some of that foundation out for me too. And if they don't, then I'll just take them off and put them on next year. I really didn't do any foundation to speak of this year, very little. Almost everything I put in my colonies this year was drawn comb. Normally I put a few boxes of foundation on, and this year I just kind of didn't do that. I thought, well, I don't know if our flow is going to be very good, but I was wrong. I should have gone ahead and put some of that on there to let them get started on in the spring. But it's been a great year. I can't complain. It's been late, but you never know until the honey's in the buckets what you're going to have. You can't count the honey until it's in the buckets. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
But for right now, if everything keeps going as it is, like for example, last night we had a nice rainstorm. Today it was nice and sunny. I mean, that's just perfect storm. That's, no pun intended, a perfect storm for honey to come in. And then I think tomorrow we got a little rain coming in. And so it just hasn't settled in on us like it has you, where it just rains and rains and rains. We'll have a nice day or two of a nice rainstorm, and then it just leaves us alone for a few days, which is perfect. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been doing down here.
Up here in my area, from my little rain gauge, we are over twice our regular precipitation, our average for May.
Yeah, I sure hope it'll clear up for you guys soon and let those bees be able to get their work done. Because I've been watching your videos, Brian, and those who haven't watched Brian's videos, man, he is just, that bee yard went from 3 to 16 now, right? 16, 17 in a hurry. So, and it looks really good. I mean, the bees are looking good, and it's just a beautiful bee yard you have there, Brian.
Yeah, it's coming along. I mean, I've got everything. I even cleaned up some stumps now, got everything edged up. But yeah, I mean, it's coming along, and the colonies look exceptional. It's just I need the weather to cooperate. When the weather cooperates, that yard, there's going to be a lot of bees there. And I plan on, depending on how things look, if I can sneak 1 or 2 more splits, then I will. And that would take me up close to 20. So if I can get to 20, from 3 to 20 this season, that'd be good.
That's amazing. Yeah,
I would be fine with that. I'd be.
I'm still just amazed that any of your colonies survived that winter you had up there. My word, bees are a lot tougher than southern people. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I just like to give a little shout out. Chad Hawley's in the chat here. He's a coworker of mine. He jumped in here, so that was awesome.
Okay.
Hello, Chad. Welcome aboard. Awesome. He's one of my co-PTs in our PT department. His wife is Sydney. She's awesome as well. She works with us too. So it's good to see Chad in here.
So if Chad's in here, Chad, we want to tell us some stories about what Bruce
No, let's
doesn't do
not.
at work.
He's probably got some, but yeah, Chad is one of those guys that he's real good with the memes and he does the good like Photoshop. He's real skilled at that kind of stuff. So,
Oh, okay.
you know, behind the scenes, he's a little behind the scenes, but then all of a sudden you'll get a text that everybody just cracks up over. So he does a great job.
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
find a. I'm gonna see if I can find a picture that he did. I don't know if I still have it or not. Anyway, but that's what's going on down here. Hey guys, if you have any questions, you know, it'd be great if you could put them in the all caps and put them in here. We're talking bees right now. Let us know what's going on in your situation, and if you have any questions for us, we'll do the best we can to answer them.
Let me see.
But
I'm going to share something here. What is this?
oh yeah, that's not a very good picture. I don't know. I don't have it centered or should have done it horizontal, but that is actually the horizontal hive that I got from Ricky Work, Horizontal Bees.
Wow.
And it is I think it's a 30 frame horizontal hive. It doesn't have quite that many frames in it. I started off the year, so the story behind this hive is Ricky brought it down to me, I think probably maybe 3 years ago. I think it was something like that. It may have been a year later. I can't remember, but I think it was 3 years ago. He brought it down and we put one of Greg's nukes in there with the Pepto Pink Queen, and they did really well that first year. And the next year, they I guess it was last year, so it would have been, yes, it was the third year. So I guess the next year they kind of started to fizzle out whenever it was, or it may have even been she lasted a year and a half. I can't remember. But I just put a queen cell in there. I think a random queen cell I got from somebody in there. And I don't know if it was the queen genetics, if it was the drones in there or what, but last year they were my nastiest, meanest hive. They were horrible. And all through this winter, I would just I'd crack the lid and they were all over me. And they, you know, in the past I've had bees like that and I was okay with it, but I'm no longer tolerating that stuff.
Yeah.
And so this year when I got the queens from Zach, when I was working on trying to mellow my bees out a little bit, I killed the queen that was in that hive and I put a new Hawaiian queen in there. And they have blown up. They're much more gentle now. And right now they have the whole thing full. If you're looking on the picture from right to left, okay, so the right side of the hive looking at it, which is actually the left side of the hive, but from the picture right side going left, it's completely full. There's about maybe space for 1 or 2 frames on the very far left end.
Wow.
And one thing I did because I just had a few frames in there, that the hive last year never really exploded like this. And so I just had probably maybe 8 or 10 frames going through winter in there, if that many. Just kind of had them kind of in the middle, right there behind the door. And I started putting frames in the spring, and I put them over to facing us to our right hand side, looking at the screen, all the way over to near the end on that end. And I expanded them back to the other direction quite a ways as well. And I'll be darned if those bees I didn't get them all the way to the right side. So they built 2 combs from the lid on that. There's actually a what do you call it? Underneath what do you put underneath your
inner cover?
Inner cover. Yeah, there's like the inner covers in there. The middle part doesn't have inner cover, but on that right side there, as we're looking at it,
oh my,
there was 2 spots where there were no frames, and so they built 2 huge combs, and they're dripping with honey. And I'm just leaving them alone. I'm not going to cut them out yet. And I may actually use that honey and crush it or whatever when we harvest. But so when I saw that, I put frames in pretty much the rest of it, and then they've built it out almost to the far side of that left side as well. You can see the bees on that left side there on the small entrance.
Yeah.
The other entrance on the right side is closed. I should just open it up too, because that whole thing, I mean, you look at that and you think, oh my gosh, it's so hot. Why is he in control? And this hive, I don't know how the ventilation is in the hive. I think it's probably pretty good. That door is probably, I don't know, several inches wide right there where the opening is. And it's crazy though, man, that thing. And so the hive is full of bees, and there's that many bearding on the front, but I don't think there's any evidence of swarming. I think it is hot, so there is some bearding because of the heat, I'm sure. But man, they have I put a few frames in there a couple of weeks ago, just new foundation. They had it pretty much all drawn out when I went back in there whatever day it was, I think Monday. So I went up and grabbed some more frames and stuck them in there. But it's pretty much completely full now with bees and frames and comb. And
That is insane.
it is wild. It's pretty impressive.
Insane. Good stuff. Yeah. Hey, we got and everybody, like Bruce said, if you've got questions, if I miss them, I apologize, but try and throw them in caps. Todd, I did see your question, so I got that thing saved up. So we'll get it. We'll get that when we get it. But I'm gonna go ahead and let's chat with somebody about frames. So these things, I saw these frames at Nabby and didn't have time to really look. I mean, I was so Greg's booth was busy. Just I'll just say that it was busy. I barely had enough time. I think it was like the last day when I was like, I need to go pick up my stuff I ordered. So I finally got that stuff picked up that last day. But I actually ordered some of these frames off of him. I'll let him explain them, more in detail. I only know like a little fraction about them, but gonna get Michael in here and let's learn all about 21st bees. So I see some in the background there too, man.
Yeah, I've got stuff laying around. See if I can fix my camera here.
You got frames everywhere.
Oh man, you ought to see this place. The frames the bee stuff is our third product line.
Yeah.
So we've got pet stuff here and school stuff there and frames everywhere in between.
Oh my gosh.
Our building is like 63,000 square feet and we have no room. I mean, there is no room thanks to the ceiling. It's just, we do everything ourselves in house. So we've got raw materials out the rear. We've got textiles and plastic and powder coat and just everything.
Wow. So for the folks that do not know you, where are you located at? And so I'll tell everybody, American made. So, but yeah, where are you located at? And these frames here that, and if you look, actually, I grabbed the right screenshot because the screenshot that I have on the thumbnail, that's one of your frames, buddy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I noticed that.
So yeah, where for those that don't know you, where are you located at? And these frames here, these infinity frames, tell us the long story short here on them.
So I say I don't have an accent, but you can tell from my accent, I'm from the southern part of the country. So we're in Van Buren, Arkansas, which is basically Fort Smith. We're like a suburb. So we're like on the Arkansas-Oklahoma border. So we're not really south. We're not really Midwest. We're just kind of like the ugly stepchild that's just kind of out there. We've been around since '88. It's my family's business. We're all family run. So, mom, dad, me, we're all here every day, all the time. So you imagine how much fun that is. But yeah, we make everything ourselves. We bring in raw materials. We do everything, like say, from welding to powder coating, injection molding, sewing. Everything is start to finish in our building. So wow. I'm the guy that, looking at your frames, I'm the guy that put the mold in the machine. I'm the guy that does the setup, the guy that starts the machines up in the morning. I was waxing frames every day. Just everybody does what needs to be done.
Wow. And your frame, so let me, I was horrible in that I should have already had the website pulled up. But
well, it's a bad website right now. We're in the middle of having it professionally done because what's up online right now is my hodgepodge. Yeah. So that's one of those. I always tell everybody, I appreciate the ones that have ordered so far because it's a pain in the butt to order because you actually have to email a form in instead of just ordering online. But the new site and online ordering and all that, I've been told will be done in the middle of next month. Everything seems to be going on track for that. So
awesome.
Should have a whole new, really fancy revamped thing that I'm definitely not technically able to do myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've got these frames here. So what are they made out of?
So they're all made out of, it's a food grade ABS plastic.
Okay.
And it's
I
like
know ABS.
high strength, high impact.
Mm-hmm.
I put a UV stabilizer in it. So, you know, if you want to put them out in your solar melter, you want to leave wet supers outside, let them get cleaned up. You don't have to worry about them breaking down. Like, you know, plastic frames in the beginning years ago used to get brittle over time. That's that issue. You know, we don't have those issues anymore. And then I make all my frames 100% solid. There's no voids in them. So there's nothing to twist and flex and break on you. I mean, you can use them as a hammer. I had some nails coming out of a box the other day, and I literally flipped the frame over and just beat them back in as I was going through the yard.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty convenient. It's pretty handy. You can just walk around and just give them a good slap and not worry about damaging anything. Like I say, I've got ones laying around. I'll show you. It's hard.
Wow.
You can sit here, you know, hammer nail, and you know, you can go to town all day long and just, you know, beat on them.
Those things are, I know, like, so my frame, so I ordered, they come in 3 different sizes. So they're 4.9, 5.4, and 6.6. So you've got small cell, you've got standard, and then the larger, I believe, is more for your drone comb. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a 6.6 for drone. And then I've got the, you know, if you like foundationless or comb honey, I've got that as an option in mediums.
Wow.
And then for the guys, I like to do little mini mating nukes, not the little mini ones, because I like to be able to see a better laying pattern. So not a lot of people make these anymore. I make a deep half wood frame.
Oh, wow.
You can put it in old traditional, like 4-way deep mating nukes. And actually, she has room to lay, and you can actually see a pattern instead of just and think she's good and give her to somebody or put her in a hive, and then a month down the road figure out that's about all she actually laid and she's worthless.
Yeah. Wow. Huh.
You know, I do all the specialty stuff. I tell people. So originally, I built these, and I did all the design work and all the patent work myself. So these are made for me because I hate building wood frames and cleaning and wiring. And I've never been a big plastic fan before. I've always used wood and wax. I'm a small cell guy, so you couldn't really get it in plastic anyway. And so basically, I just designed a frame that I like, you know, to get rid of all the beetle hiding places. It gets rid of all the little sharp corners where beetles can tuck into.
Yeah.
So you can, these things, they don't flex or twist because they're so reinforced. So you can power wash them, dip them in boiling water, steam clean them, just do whatever you want to them. So that's the only way I would use a plastic frame, is if I could be that rough with them. So they're a little bit. I had somebody tell me the other day, and I won't say his name because we all know him. It's like, you know, your frames are a little over-engineered, which is true, because everything we do here, we don't like to get it just good enough, because if there's ever a little flaw somewhere, just good enough fails. So we over-engineer everything. So even if there's multiple flaws, you're never probably even going to know it.
Yeah.
That's just how we build everything. Like I say, we're talking about the shipping earlier. They're a little bit heavier. I mean, you're going to, compared to a traditional wood frame, you're going to notice it when you pick it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're not used to it. But actually, if you take 10 of these in a wood deep box, only weighs a little over 6.5 pounds more than what you're used to. It's just getting that muscle memory throws you off, and you think they're a whole lot bigger than they really are. But I tell you, after you just move them around your yard a few times, you get used to them, and you really don't notice after that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and they're good. I mean, like so I got a set of the standard. What is it? Look at that.
Yeah, I got the thumbs up. You got the standard can.
The 5.4s. So I got a set of deeps in 5.4s, and then I got a set of mediums in 5.4s. And I thought, well, let me try them in a setup. So when I put them in some of my copper infused boxes from Greg, I thought, you know, if I'm getting the copper boxes, I'm going to throw the infinity frames in there and just I mean, I'm going to give the bees, I guess, the best house I can give them.
Sure.
Those jokers, let me see. Next Monday, is it next Monday? Will be 4 weeks. I think it's 4 weeks. I don't know. It's somewhere around 3.5 weeks, somewhere in there now. And they have built out, as far as the deep that I've put them in, they've got over 8 frames that are completely built out. And if you look at the image on the thumbnail, that's one of the frames. That's one of the things that I told him about with my first inspection. They were flawless. I didn't have any areas where I had to scrape off like wonky comb, nothing. They're wax coated. You can smell it when you get them out of the box. And the bees, they built them out beautifully.
Yeah, so that's part of our waxing process. That's our only secret. We built our own. We do spray wax on them, so it's sprayed.
Mm-hmm.
We built our own machinery. Nobody gets to look at it. It's the way we apply it and the quality of the wax.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just tell you right now, I don't use American wax. I pay extra, and I have beeswax imported from Europe because they use a lot less chemicals in their agriculture.
Oh,
I
okay.
can get as clean as I can get, and I pay the extra for it. But that's why when you pick them up and feel them, they have that really good tacky, sticky, clean, and that really good strong smell. That, and we don't spray pallets of them ahead and set them out in the factory and let them dry out.
Mm-hmm.
We only spray what we need ahead. So like I have a new dealer who ordered a pallet of them to go to Tampa. I'll spray that entire pallet for her because I know they're going to be in storage for a little bit. We'll spray them a couple of days before they go out the door. So everything's about as fresh as we can get it when we send it out, just to help with that.
Yeah. You know, and I know for those wondering also, I got mine were all stamped. So each of my frames, they say Castle Hives right across the top of it.
Yeah.
So I just, Bruce, you know me with all that kind of little stuff. If there's anything that I can geek out on, I do.
I mean, we have a lot of bee theft around here. So like in Arkansas, we get state apiary numbers. So, you know, it's a good way to be able to stamp your number into your frames.
Oh, yeah.
And at least make it trouble if somebody's going to try to steal your bees. It's not going to stop them, but it's going to make it where they can't reuse those frames. Because the only way to get that out, you see how deep I stamp them.
You'd have to dig down in there.
So at least if they're going to steal your stuff, you can make it a hassle for them.
Yeah.
Question for you. Do you have anybody that has used like chain uncappers or, you know, heavy duty commercial grade uncappers on them? And with the weight of those frames, does it make a difference? Does it damage them at all? I imagine they're tougher than I use just standard. I've got some standard Pureco black frames, full plastic frames, and it handles it fine, you know, the uncapping machine. But do you have any issues at all with that, or any problems with the weight of the frames or the size of the frames or dimensions?
I haven't personally ran them through anything because I don't have that kind of heavy duty equipment. So Cayman got a truckload back in my pickup load of some small cell and some standard. I think I set him up with 5 or 6 hives worth of stuff that he's running commercially, like the way he runs his other hives. And he's going to run them through his full Calvin extraction line and do a video to let everybody see what they look like going through that process and just see how well they hold up to it.
Awesome.
So, but until now, I don't have anything right now to be able to show. You know, it's just too early.
Mm-hmm.
Sales to Canada. So with the giveaway stuff, we're only doing it in the 48 states. And it's partially because of cost, but it's mainly because of all the tariff stuff. It's a paperwork nightmare to deal with brokers and just for this. But we do sell all over. We sell to Canada for some of our product lines. We sell to Australia and Thailand, and you're welcome to order them from anywhere in the world if you want to pay the shipping, basically.
There you go.
I mean, if you're in Canada or Mexico and want them right now, I can set you up tomorrow. But the freight, it's just day to day. We have to do quotes and just see what it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we don't make any money off freight. Whatever they charge us, that's what we charge the customer. So it really is. We do our best to find the cheapest route we can, but those costs are just getting outrageous anymore.
Yeah. This is another good question here from Jarrett.
Yeah. I do bulk pricing. We started as little as 100 frames, so 10 boxes. And we do breaks starting at 100, 500, 1,000. I'd have to have the chart in front of me, but we started at like 5%, 7.5%, 10. We'll go all the way up to 30%. So like if you're a club and you're looking to like pull a club order,
mm-hmm.
for instance, if you get a pallet load of them this week, say going to Tampa, Florida, you could, if you fill that pallet all the way up, you could get them for as cheap as $5 a box in terms of shipping.
Wow.
So that's what I recommend. If you've got a good strong club with a lot of members,
right?
Everybody buys a couple boxes. You only need 20 or 30 people to load up a full pallet and get freight's a whole lot cheaper that way.
Yeah, like my plan, and this is what I've done with my boxes. This is what I do with a lot of my equipment, because I'm the small scale guy, and like some people say, okay, if you're going to get up around 20 colonies, you're not that small scale. That a lot of people have been calling me like a closet sideliner for what, Bruce, probably like 2 years now.
Yeah.
But at my scale, like I got to the point that I kind of separated household money and bee money. So like when I got a lot of my newer boxes that I got now, they're all the EnduraHive wax dipped. I bought a little bit at a time. So I'm basically transitioning all of my equipment. There's nothing going to be painted. Everything is 10 frame, and it's all going to be wax dipped from Greg. I'm about at the end of that transition. I probably will be ordering, frames from you periodically. Just I liked them that much. I thought, let me try them out, see how they do. And I was impressed. I truthfully and honestly, and folks, you can tune into my last couple videos because I do updates on it. I really was impressed by them. Cost wise, like some people would say, okay, the money, but if you buy something like, it's just the same thing like the wax dipped boxes. You're going to put a little bit of money up front, but you're going to end up having that equipment for the rest of your career.
Sure.
So, and that's what I'm looking at now. If I can slowly transition over and get equipment that I literally will never have to worry about it breaking, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people, understand the frames, they take time to make, they have a lot of material in them, they're expensive. Compared to a wood frame and plastic foundation, they're expensive, just flat out.
Yeah.
If you're going to actually plan to keep bees for a number of years, you're going to make that up that first time that you don't have to buy new frames and replacements, and you save all that labor in the building, and you just scrape them, clean them, re-wax them, and go. But it's a long-term investment. Not everybody can go out and replace their whole yard in 1 year. I'm the same way of you. I've got a bunch of Greg's wax dip boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I ran out. I'm nowhere near them. I needed 13 boxes last week, so I had to order some just normal ones from Better Bee. I had to assemble them and paint them. And at midnight Saturday night, I was cussing myself for not driving to Greg's just to not have to do that. And, it's just, I get it. That's why, we sell these in 5-packs too. So people can order a 5-pack, try them out. You get a nuke, you can order 5 and add to it. You can just get a little here and there and over, because they're designed to last, to give to your kids, basically. So you can sprinkle them in over time, as you pull out comb and cull it. Instead of cleaning that all up and trying to re-wax it, drop a few of these in and just, like you say, don't burn up your house money. Use your bee money and spread it out and make it make sense for you.
Yeah.
We all know, I have a cheap extractor that I think I bought used. It's a little 4-frame electric one. Man, I'd love to walk out and buy a nice 9-frame radial max amp, a nice good quality American extractor. I don't. Since I've been busy at work, I don't have the extra bee money laying around, and I'm not going to burn house money on it.
Right.
So I've been telling myself I'm going to get one for 5 years now, and I keep busy and ignoring my bees. And
we don't all harvest 9,400 pounds of honey like Bruce here.
And it was so dry here last year. I think I only harvested 3 or 4 supers. I left everything else on for my bees for the wintertime.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I was telling Brian earlier, there's a flow down here in Alabama. It's the tallow flow, they call it. And we're in the middle of that right now. And it's literally like a fire hose. I mean, the honey comes in so fast, and it's hot and heavy for probably about a 3-week period of time, I would guess. And then it's over. We do have a spring flow that's pretty good. This year it was pretty good. Some years it doesn't do anything in the spring, but the last couple of years it's been pretty good. But the tallow you can kind of count on it most years, at least to give you a pretty good honey crop. So last year we had a record crop, and this year we're hoping to have another good one. I don't know if we'll have a record this year or not, because we were trying to, I broke some hives down a little bit more than I probably should have this year, and maybe lost a little bit of honey production from some of the colonies, but I've got some others that are making up for it. So we'll see what they do. But I think we're blessed here in this area here in the South where I'm at to have the tallow trees around, although it is an invasive species that most people hate. I think the only people that like tallow trees are beekeepers, but we're blessed to have quite a bit of that around here, at least where my colonies are. And so they do, you know, it's kind of an insurance policy. Even if the spring honey isn't that great, usually we at least get something off the tallow. A couple of years ago, we didn't get a lot, but last year and was really good. It was a record, and then this year hopefully it'll be good too. So it would be difficult for me to replace, you know, over 100 colonies and probably, you know, well over 2,000 frames.
Oh yeah.
With these, I mean, that would be just
yeah.
But it might be worth trying a few of them, you know. But it's very intriguing and very, very cool. I saw them at the conference, but I really didn't look at them that closely. You know, there's so many things, just kind of like a kid in a candy store, like the bright shiny lights everywhere. So I didn't really look at them that closely. I think I did go by and take a look at them, but were the ones you had at the conference sprayed with wax? I can't remember.
Okay. I don't think we had wax ones in.
I was kind of wondering about that when I saw them. I didn't ask. I should have, but I didn't think they looked like they were sprayed. So actually, I don't know. I just didn't ask. I just really, honestly, I didn't spend a lot of time thinking about it, but now I'll think about it more for sure. And Brian's been talking them up. So I'm impressed in hearing his opinion of them as well. Mm-hmm. They did look extremely heavy duty. And now I've talked to Brian and see that they draw the comb out really good on them. It's, you know, it might be worth giving a few of them a shot and just seeing what happens.
The problem, I say the problem with them is the wax is so attractive to them. So if you have a box and you're trying to like shake bees down to like look for a queen or to do work, instead of the bees landing on the box and going down, they start hanging out on top and wanting to smell and start touching all the wax and get on it. So you have to really smoke them to get them out of your way so you can put your next box on. Because it's something about the smell and the way we do it. They're just really attracted and they just kind of puddle up. That's the only thing I've noticed. It's just, you know, everyone's looking to run down out of your way, but
yeah.
Is there a unique as far as the actual pattern? Now you got a couple different sizes, but as far as the depth of the pattern, is it different than other companies, or is it kind of a similar depth? You know what I mean? Like the depth of the cells, so to speak, or the walls of the cells that you actually imprint onto the frames.
So, I don't know how well you can see. You might be able to see in the video here if I get it real close for you. The light hits. So we tried to mimic the depth and the pattern as best I can. If I can get the light to focus on it, if I move real slow. There we go.
I can see it pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, you can see it has that. It actually has, you know, the same geometry, the angle down. The side walls are the standard type Hive. So what I modeled them after was, I keep Russians, small cell Russians, but I also have had standard ones in the past. So I kind of modeled them off. I do a lot of foundationless beekeeping with my small cell. So I modeled them more off what my bees were just naturally free drawing in terms of cell wall depth. But overall, the cell width for the actual size is just, you know, your standard, you know, measuring out your cells, and the wall thicknesses are kind of based off what my bees are actually doing. And I did a lot of different runs with 3D printed samples and tried different stuff on my bees to see what they took to and didn't really take to. So as best as I could do, I tried to make them model off what they naturally do, you know, as close as I could get it. I know a lot of people advertise different, you know, theirs is more realistic or natural like. It's a certain than my bees like this size and depth the best, so that's what I made.
Yeah. Could you take that? I'm trying to think. What is the width of the bottom bar? Is it? We have a couple of Hilco 32 frame extractors, and we really like them, but the frames fit in there very snug, which is good. But it's, you know, if the frame, if you like, we have some old wood homemade frames that we have. You really have to force it down there, because on the bottom bar part, if it's too wide, it won't go down there. So is the bottom bar the standard size of most of your wooden frames, the standard ones now? Yeah,
the overall, the outer dimensions of everything is exactly the same as a standard wood frame. I modeled them off kind of a hybrid between a Date Ant and an Old Kelly.
Okay.
So in terms of the thickness of the end bars, the width, the height, it's basically data.
Could you hold it up like with the bottom facing there? Maybe turn, yeah.
It's basically Dadant, everything,
Okay.
except the tabs. I like the way Kelly used to do theirs instead of having the little notches cut in where they propylize and stick them in. So the tabs are a little bit more squarish.
And that's fine. Yeah. That's what I think Pura does that as well. Theirs are more square than others. Okay, cool. Neat stuff, man.
Awesome, yeah.
Just another example of a beekeeper creating a solution to a problem, or at least making things better.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you know with your frames, do they hold simple foam?
No. So I'm talking about these guys. So these aren't made to have any kind of inserts put in. So I've been running a wood version of this that I've made for years. So the way we do these, it's for two things. I like to do foundationless beekeeping and let my bees free draw after I get them to the size I want. So I actually have starter wedges. You can kind of see the angle built.
Oh, yeah.
Sides,
I see it.
Bottom all the way around. And we put a heavy wax coat on these just like everything else. And the bees will free draw off the top and build. And we have a pretty substantially thick bar. So if you want to use them for foundationless, you can actually run them through an extractor or have brood in them. That's why the corners are still open, so you still get the pass-throughs. Or if you time it right, if you're good at making comb honey and all the conditions line up, these bars are spaced 4 inches on center for your 4-inch containers. They're a little taller than 4, but in between this little hump and this hump, here and here, that's exactly 4 inches. So if you just eyeball it straight over and then follow the bars down, they'll perfectly drop out into a 4-inch square comb honey container.
Oh, wow.
But nothing's made to go in them. So simple comb, any type of insert's not going to work in these. It's a standalone thing.
Okay. And I know the answer to this, but what's with the holes?
I'll show you a deeper one. You can see even more holes. There's extra double holes. So this is my patented design. So the purpose of these, and you'll notice in your brood chambers, wherever you run deep or medium, it doesn't make a difference. In your brood chambers, they will always leave these center ones open and use them to pass through. Communication hole, helps them transfer pheromones and move around, which makes it fun when you have a runny queen and you're trying to keep her in track of her and she likes to dive through the center to the other side. I have a couple of those. But the corners always stay open for movement. And you'll notice that when you pull your frames out, you have a lot less bees up here in the corner that have to fight with because they just tend to dive bomb through the corners. And I did this because, watching my Russians, they love to build little tunnels and dig through. So I was trying to give them somewhere to do that made sense. But the other big reason is in the wintertime, my thinking was if you have a cluster that's a little bit on the smaller side, I'm not saying this is going to work every time, but if you have one that's on the smaller side, there's less chances that you can get them trapped and not be able to move the food beside them or around through a super, because they have a small cluster can move over the top of the hole and essentially bleed through and melt through the hole to the other side without having to completely break going across a gap or over a bar to try to help them conserve a little bit more heat and get them to move. Whether every cluster will do it, you never know, but it gives you a little bit better a fighting chance if you're trying to baby one through. I've noticed in supers, bees are super efficient. They always want to maximize space. So in my supers, they tend to fill that hole in sometimes. My Russians are really good about filling it in. I have some hives that do, some that don't. So I've been like, what I'm going to do is when it's time to winterize, anything that's closed up that I'm using for wintertime food, I'm just going to come through with like a Sharpie pen that's in my sleeve or into my J hook or even my finger and just punch that little hole back out. I've tried it already on some of mine, and I found that after I punch it out the first time, they leave it open after that. But that initial draw, they just naturally just run it right over. They still leave the corners stay wide open, but it's that little center one. They just don't like being inefficient. But something about crushing it back through and leaving it, they just, most of mine assume that that's what it's supposed to be and leave it. But I still have a hive or two that's going to fill it over, and then I just don't even try fighting with them. They're going to do what they want to do after that.
Yeah. My deeps, I can say mine so far, they haven't touched the holes that are in them. So, and like you said, they do go in and out. I mean, I have noticed them when I'm doing my inspections, they're running in and out of those holes.
Yeah.
So, communication wise, I can see to where that would be a benefit. So, let's do, do you want to do 2 drawings here?
I'm going to do 2 different things.
Okay.
I'm giving away 5 packs of mediums. I'm going to give away 4 sets of 5 packs. All medium size, your choice of frame style. So if you want small, medium, or small, standard, drone, foundationless, you just tell me what you prefer, but it's going to be a medium size. So we'll do that for the giveaway. And then since everybody can't win, I'm going to let everybody who's watching the stream, if you want to use promo code StreamTeam, go to my Facebook page, and I pinned a post with a link to a Google Doc to order from. I'll give you till Sunday at midnight to take 20% off anything I sell, no quantity limitations. Just make sure to pop the code in, and it's an automatic 20 off everything.
Will that be StreamTeam all together, or is there a space in that StreamTeam?
Does it matter?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're going to come to me as long as I can read anything that's, if you put team stream, whatever, I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Urology. If they put in their urology doctor.
If they put Brian urology doctor, I'll know what's going on. But yeah, and then my little username up there, that's one of my like 3 or 4 emails. So as long as it gets back in my inbox by midnight, you're good.
Okay. Let me do this. Let me share a screen here.
Michael, while he's doing that, so to order, there's a website, or you have to reach out to you individually. You talked about that earlier.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you've got to shoot me an email.
Okay.
There's an email on the back of that order form that's orders@21st. But just for the next 2 or 3 more weeks, it's a pain. But I put a Google Doc up. It might make you ask for permission, but I've always got my phone on me so I can pop it through if that happens, and they can just fill it out and shoot it back to me. We're doing that. I'm going to stick it here.
Jared, I got your question there starred, buddy. I'll get it in a second. So toss in, hashtag infinity frame here. We'll do two of the 4 right now, and then we'll wait another 15 minutes, and then we'll do the other 2. But again, like he said, continental US. If you do have questions, shoot him an email. He's got his name that's on here is his email. Just shoot him over some questions, and he'll get back to you. So let's draw the first one here. Now, whoever wins it, do you want them just to email you, Michael?
Yeah. I'm gonna write your name down so I remember. Just shoot me an email and say, "Hey, I won, and this is what I want," and I'll get all your info and get them sent out to you here pretty quick.
Okay, awesome. Here we go. Let's see. Now, if it lands on my name because I told people to type it in, I mean, I'll pass on them. I'll be honest here. Look at that. Liberty Honeybees. Congrats, man. So the first one here, Liberty Honeybees. That is awesome. And the second one, Liberty Honeybees. Congrats. And the second one here, who is it? Cecilia. Congrats. So Liberty Honeybees and Cecilia, congrats. We'll do the other 2 here in a couple minutes, but those are the first 2.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good stuff.
So I've got some pictures I can share on here if you want something to look at for a minute.
Sure, yeah.
Let's see. I think I've got...
Bruce, you got to get a set just to try.
Yeah, I do.
I'm going to load up 4 of them real quick. So, that's not one of my frames, but you can see underneath it, you can alternate these in with your wood frames. And since the dimensions are all the same, you can just checkerboard them in, and your bees, don't care either way. So I've got my small cell ones there mixed in with some of my wood ones.
Yeah. Nice.
Let's see. What's this one? Of course, I've got numbers. I didn't actually name these to know what they are when they pop up. I'm smart. So yeah, that's just starting to be initially drawn. We're coming into our good flow time here. If the rain would ever stay away, I can get a box of mediums drawn and nectar filled, just not capped, in about a week right now, before all the rain started happening. So they pull them pretty fast.
Yeah. I've noticed the same thing. I mean, on mine, like I said, I didn't have any where they did anything kind of like wonky or crazy.
That's not what I'm looking for. Let me see here. I opened up the wrong thing. That's why my pictures didn't make any sense. There we go. There's what I'm looking for. So I'll just throw some in there. Go. Let me move these out of here and get them out of your way. Just showing you can intermix. I've got small cell. I've got a drone frame because I do the drone. I don't remove my drone frames, but I put my drone frames in with my bees just to keep burr comb down. And I'm a treatment-free keeper. I've been doing it that way for over a decade now. So that's part of my system that I use, the way I do certain things. It's definitely not for everybody, but over time, I've got a system down that works for me in my area.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Michael, how can they? I'm sorry. How can they figure out pricing? Do they have to email you to get that price, or is it on the website?
There's price lists on the website. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they can just scroll the products and scroll down, and they'll see it.
Yeah, I'll put the website into the chat. Chris here has a good question. So with the colors, I know they are different sizes. So like your colors that you do have, let me share that back up. So your 3 colors that you've got here. Now I know, so that greenish color there, those are the 5.4s. That's what I have. But you've got 4 9s, 5 4s, and 6 6s. Yeah.
So the 4 9s are always yellow. Drone's always that baby blue. Standards is always that brownish. It's kind of a bad color on the website. It's kind of a light brownish, tannish.
Yeah.
And the little minis, they're purple just because they are. I was trying to find colors that wouldn't heat up in the sun and get your wax that soft like black does, but still dark enough that you could see if you're grafting. And since standard is pretty much the standard, that's why it's got a good color to look at for grafting. The yellow ones, they're a little trickier to see until they've hatched one good time. Trying to see brand new eggs on the yellow of brand new wax, you got to have good eyes. But that's not as common of a thing. So that's going to be more of a specialty for us that are used to really looking at that stuff. But it's that way, so you can look into your hive. You know automatically what's in there if you've got it mixed with wood frames. We've got the sizes molded at the top of the frame in case a couple of years from now you forget what size it is. You can actually see the number. There's some of my mini frames that I'm getting drawn out. I should have taken a picture because I've got them drawn and honey and brood getting put in them right now. I just took a 4-way mating nuke box and slid the dividers to the left, put them on top of Never Hive to let them get drawn. And then I just move that divider over, turn it into a 4-way, move it to a bottom that's made for that, and I can use it for queen rearing.
Nice. Oh man, look at that.
So that's one of those, they drew the wax and filled it in a week frames.
Wow.
And that next picture I've got up, they did that to a whole box of them. So I just pulled them out and laid them out to show.
That is beautiful.
And you can see on those, they actually left the centers on those open. That's one of the hives that's pretty good about not messing with them. The one right next to it, I'll never be able to get the centers to stay open, I don't think.
That's beautiful.
But you can see they build up to all the edges, but they kind of dive around those corners and leave them open, and they still run through them. So
that looks nice. Yeah. Awesome.
That's cool. I like it.
Yeah. Hey, there's a question here. How do they hold up to hot knives or sharp knife blades during trimming comb? So when you're going through extraction.
Sharp knife blades, a lot better than wood. You don't get all the little wood shards and everything. It's a high impact ABS. It's rock hard stuff. It's not indestructible. I mean, if you really get on it, you can sit there and get little nicks and scrapes into it, but not like wood. I mean, I can take just like a Colden capping knife, not pay attention and really cut and dig into the wood.
Yeah.
These you don't. Same with hot knives. As long as you don't I mean, if you lay the knife on it and just sit it there and don't move it for minutes, it's going to leave a mark. But if you're using it like you should, you won't even be able to tell that you ran across it. I shoot these at over 450 degrees, and they set up and they're rock hard, and it takes a good bit of heat to even be able to try to flex the things.
Yeah, I know ABS is. I've never printed it myself, but I know 3D printing with ABS. I mean, it's just it is. That's why I've never printed it.
Yeah, so our material, people know about plastics are going to get mad because I'm not going to go into depth on this. We have to have it extremely dry. So we have to have these big industrial dryers that run at 180 degrees to take the moisture out of it. And it literally goes from the dryer to the machine, one part at a time. It sucks it up into the barrels. So it's never really out in the open air for more than a minute or two. And if you get off and you don't get it perfectly dry, you start getting little air pockets and bubbles and all kinds of little weirdness to it. So our injection room is nice and hot because we've got all the injection machines putting out heat, all the chillers, because all the machines are water cooled. We have to run our water at 40 degrees, and our molds, we're shooting 450 degree material into them. And we've got our dryers, and it just sheds heat nonstop. And in Arkansas, especially when we're powder coating, you talk about like being hot in the summer outside in your bee suit. It's 115 here, 90% humidity, and we've got half the building is a powder coating oven. Then we've got injection machines, and it's a sweat lodge in this place.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's
really
nice in the wintertime, though. It can be snowing outside and 75 in our building.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's instant heat right there. Yeah. Awesome. No, I like them, so far. So,
yeah, so far, everybody that's tried them seems to like them. I haven't had anybody, surprisingly, I haven't really had anybody complain about the weight of them. I figured that would be the first thing. And the price would be, the price is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like once people try them out, give them a shot, they tend to really like them and see how well they draw on them and work on them. It's just, getting people to try them.
Right.
Like right now, we're still early. We only started really pumping them out in January at Nobby. We just started selling in March. We're still on the lookout for a good handful of just a few dealers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to flood the market with dealers. I want to just, get some regionally. So we've got one in Arkansas. We've got one in Tampa now. I'm getting ready to start doing shows again this summer and fall. So I'm going to creep my way up towards Michigan and Ohio and see some of you northern people.
Nice. When are you going to be in Ohio in the fall?
I've still got to get a hold of them. I want to go to the Ohio State, their fall state meeting.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go to the Ohio and the Michigan state meeting. I think in October. Because in September, I'm going to be in Georgia and South Carolina. Yeah. So I'm going to Texas. I'll be in South Carolina in mid-July. I'll be in Georgia for their state show in September.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll be doing the Northern track.
You'd think that me being in Ohio that I would know when the Ohio conference is, but I don't.
I want to say it's like the third weekend of October.
Yeah.
It's Michigan, and then there's a weekend off. Then it's Ohio's the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. Then, Jonathan's question here, are they slick to handle like other plastic frames?
No.
When I've handled them, no.
No, you can't see it. So I had our mold maker put as much texture as I could get on them. I actually had a lot heavier texture, and they wouldn't come out of the mold. So we had to kind of cut it back. So this is physically as much texture as I can get on them without the mold getting stuck, essentially. Mm-hmm. And then we put such a heavy wax coat on it, they're all kind of sticky and tacky anyway. Mm-hmm. So you kind of have that extra grip. So no, they're not like super smooth and shiny. They have a little bit of texture, but it's not like a rough sandpaper. I'd say it's like a fine sandpaper. You can feel it, it's there, but it's not going to like scrape your skin up or anything.
Yeah, yeah. Are you going to be at NABI?
Yeah, I'm going to try to do a bigger booth this year, and so we did last year to try it out to see what it was about because we'd never done a show in the bee market period. Mm-hmm. This year, I'm going to force myself to hook up the 16-foot pull-behind enclosed trailer and float it down and bigger booth and drag myself out because it's like a 13-hour drive for me to get out there.
Where are you located, Michael? Where are you located at?
outside of Fort Smith, Arkansas.
Oh, that's right. You said that
Yeah,
earlier.
so
Okay.
I'm on the Oklahoma-Arkansas border, so I've got to go all the
Okay.
way over. And you know, and like last year, it's me and Dad. He'll probably come to the show with me. My dad is not a beekeeper. He learned about 3 bee facts before the last show, just so he could try to talk to people, not knowing I was going to get deathly ill and not be able to hardly talk. So maybe this year I'll be healthy and he can relax and I can actually talk and answer questions for people.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
Tom.
And Tom here, you'll be at EMBA. I wish that I could go to that.
It's a really good show.
It always falls at a time of the year when, like, I've been at NABI, so I've taken time off for that. This year, the wife and I were going to the Bahamas like 2 weeks after that, and it's like, you know, do I request off days from work to go to a conference, or do I go to the Bahamas? It was a tough decision, but
I mean, I'm not a beach person, so I would have went to the beach show, but like I don't get vacations. You know, I work 7 days a week, so going to a beach show is a vacation, even though you know it's a lot of work. But yeah, like we'll be at Nobby. We're gonna go do the Midwest show again. We'll be at Tom and Melissa show.
Mm.
You know, trying to make the rounds. We'll go back to North Carolina. We'll do all the bigger ones and bounce around and do some oddballs in between.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to leave and do a show because you know, one of us has to be here. So if me and Dad are gone, it leaves Mom to try to deal with the business, and then if they're gone, I have to be here, and they've got shows for their stuff, so we're all juggling show dates and trying not to overlap, and we're getting to what we can get to, basically.
Do you want to draw 2 more?
Yeah, and go for it.
Let's do it. So, let's see who the next winner is. So hashtag Infinity Frames, folks. If you haven't already, it's hashtag, look at this, Tar Heel. That is awesome. So good stuff right there.
That's Tim, isn't it?
Randy.
Randy. Okay.
Yeah. Congrats. So yeah, hashtag Infinity Frame. And yeah, I got to throw in here we go at Tar Heel. Congrats. There we go. That's awesome. Let's do another one. So, boom.
Last one.
And then I'll throw up, well, your email, it's your name that's on the screen. So Patty Lang, congrats. So let's see here. Congrats, Patty Lang.
Yeah, so all you winners, just go to our website, look at the products, see what you want, and then just shoot me an email and let me know. We'll get you set up.
Yeah, and let me throw it into the chat here, so that way in case people can't see it. Michael at 21stbees.com.
I saw in the comments
email for winners.
Somewhere I saw somebody asking if I was going to EAS. EAS overlaps with Nobby this year. It's just the way the dates worked out, and they couldn't do anything about it. So, no, I'm going to Nobby and not EAS.
Yeah.
But in EAS, isn't it in Georgia this year?
Well, is that EAS or is it? Hold on.
Because if it is, I'm going to be in Georgia in September this year for the state show. If you're in that area. Sure. It's like in Atlanta or somewhere. It's in the South.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's ABF. I think it's ABF that's going to be in.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
It's not EAS. So
yeah, EAS is. That's right. I get them mixed up. EAS is up in New Jersey this summer.
Yeah, ABF is going to be.
Yeah,
I think
so. I have the dates available. I was going to EAS. The pet part of the business has a big show in Vegas that my parents are going to, so I have to stay here and babysit the factory, so I can't go, or I would have. So I will be here running machines and 12 hours a day, 13, 15 hours a day, and not doing the show.
Doing what you do. Yeah. Hey, congrats. And Michael, so I do want to say thank you for doing this. I mean, we always appreciate when folks jump on here and they give away products and things like that. It's a way. I mean, when we started doing these, it's like we wanted to connect the community. And I mean, we've got 200 people on, 200 and some people on right now.
Wow.
The community is connected.
That's a good crowd, man.
And when folks like you get on and give away products, it's just we really appreciate that. So, but I want to say thank you again, and I will tell people. I mean, the frames are legit. I have them in my yards, and you can watch my last couple videos. I've checked them. So, and folks know. I mean, I don't sugarcoat things in my videos. I show whatever I see. You know, if I find stuff is dead, I show you it's dead. So, but when things work, I show that, and it, they work. So, I'm gonna get Bruce to buy some.
I sent you an order already, Michael, but I need them quick because our honey flow's almost over. So I'm gonna try and get them. See if they're good at drawing them out here at the end of our flow. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'll get out there on them tomorrow.
Yeah, just let me know how to pay or whatever. So I'll be glad to do that.
Yeah, what we do, we send an order confirmation, and like I say, it's that pain in the butt process right now for a few more weeks. We send an order confirmation. It's got all the shipping and everything in it. So if you live out in the middle of nowhere and they decide to charge an outrageous amount, you don't have to buy them. You see all that up front, and we'll send you a payment link. So we don't keep anybody's card or information on file. We use a really secure site that's really particular about the way you put everything in. And as soon as it's processed, I crank them out.
Well, I ordered 10 of the standard mediums, so we'll see how they do. I mean, it may be too late in the season, but we'll give it a try and see how they do.
All right, I'll get out there and get them for you.
All right.
Bruce, they're going to work.
I'm sure they will. I just hope it's not too late. I hope it's not. I hope I put them on the rise everything shuts off. But I think we got the other maybe 10 days or so of our flow going, so maybe I'll be able to.
It shouldn't take just a couple of days for them to get to you. Also.
Yeah, man. If I'd had them on there a week or two ago, I wish I had about 100 of them the last few days. I could have had them filled out in no time because the bees have been packing it in. But we'll try a box, and then we may get some more before next year to give them a try. I've got like 3 or 4 boxes of Pureco that I just didn't put on this year. I thought I've got plenty of comb. I'm not going to need that. So, but I found out every box I have of comb is on hives and getting filled up. So I probably should have had some drawn out early in the season, but live and learn. But I'm going to try and see.
See. So the bulk stuff, the new website will have all that on it. But if you just want to shoot me an email, I'll type it out and send it right over to you. So
I can if you let me know though too, like when the website's up, I can text him. So Jared, I can shoot him a message when I see that the website's up. I could even throw a post out there as well too. So that way people know that the website's up and make the process for ordering a little bit easier.
Yeah. So, now y'all are talking about giving things away and stuff. Once the website's up and running right, I'm going to do a lot more of flash sales and promos and going on other people's things and giving stuff away. It's easy to give a promo code and send them to a link. Right. It's just a hassle for people to have to do it this way. So I've been kind of holding back just because it's such a paperwork nightmare.
Yeah.
So, starting later next month, I'm going to start doing little things here and there and, give people a chance to get a little 5-pack a little bit cheaper and try stuff out and, see what they might like for next year.
Sounds great, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
Take it to the next level, upward and onward, right?
I'm telling you, that's upward. Like I said, I mean, that's what I'm looking at. I know, like folks have said, the price, they're a little bit more, but if I could have them for 20 or whatever years, I have frames that literally I chew them darn things up with my Hive tools. And I went through, when I was down to the 3 colonies and I was cleaning up a lot of boxes and frames, I threw out a couple. I've chewed them up so bad. And when they're propolis in there and you're trying to pop them out, I've ripped top bars off. And it's like, then you're sitting there staring at it like, well, this is going to be a mess. So
Then you
These
have to,
times here, I figured I can slowly transition. And like with my single brood management, I'm going to have a deep and a medium that will always be on. And it's just really, it just depends on the time of the year when I have an excluder in between those boxes. But if I can always, have at least my deeps will have these frames, and then that first medium initially has these frames, then I'll be good for a little bit because I'm never going to have to worry about the equipment that literally is always in the operation. That's what my plan is. And then after that, I'll transition some other supers. But my initial plan is to go with these frames throughout my deeps. That way, that's my single brood management. And it'll be time. I mean, I'm just going to have to checkerboard frames and get them to draw them out. But in a way, too, it'll be like I'm cycling out comb. So, because I've got comb in my operation that's 9 years old.
yeah, I've got 10, 11-year-old that just every year it's like, I really need a frame, and I'll just use it one more year and one more year. And, I tell people, that the whole single brood chamber management's becoming a lot more popular. I'm trying it this year just because I need to get frames drawn out. If you're interested in trying small cell, which, like I say, I've been doing it forever. I use a single deep and a single medium for my brood chamber to give them a little bit more room because I can't check them enough for swarming. If you use small cell, you get about 1,500 more cells on a frame. So you're getting, 1,500 cells a frame, 10, that's in a deep frame, 10 frames. You've got more laying room, which that gets into, depending how you treat or don't treat for mites, gives you a higher number of bees to be able to take some damage or some virus load, still not be as hurtful. So, especially if you like using only a single deep, it might be something to consider if your bees are swarming and you just don't want to expand. You might be able to give them some more laying room that way. If you do, I tell people plastic queen excluders, not metal, because this queens are a little smaller. And if you put a little kink in the metal grate and you don't realize it, she'll go right through. So it's plastic on. And the cycle, if you're queen rearing, everything's a little faster on small cell. Your queens end up getting done about 2 days early by the time you shave a few hours or half a day off every little step. So if you're doing that, keep in mind things are faster. Don't walk out and have 40, rip down, destroy, kill queen cells because you didn't realize the timing difference in it. So, here in Arkansas, the way our seasons work out, I get about one good full complete brood rotation because I save all those little bits of time over the full season. So I get a little bit fresher bees going into the wintertime. That just happens to work out with my seasons in my area. It's not going to be that way everywhere. But, there's little things like that. If you're interested in trying the small, you can play with some things and play with some timelines, and it might help you out a little bit. Or it could hurt you depending on how short your season is. You may not have time for that extra, rotation. And then, like supers, I tell people I don't like buying things that are only good for one purpose. So the drone frames, I make a medium drone frame for all of us medium brood chamber people, but they make excellent honey supers. They draw them out faster because there's less walls to build. They hold a little bit more honey, and they extract so easy because the holes are so big. So as long as you're using a queen excluder, you can use these, drop on in your brood when you're tired of making them, pop them out, throw them up in a super. They don't have to be just a single use item. You can, if you're going to pay for it, you might as well be able to use it all year long.
Right. So. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Yeah. Well, like I said, I appreciate you doing this tonight. So hopefully, and I tell you, hopefully it helps out. You'll have to let me know.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it helps out. Hopefully you get a couple orders that come through. So
it's just getting exposure. I've got lots of people that, just they've never seen them before, never heard of them.
Yeah.
Getting eyeballs. It's not for everybody. I understand that. It's just like everything else. Get eyeballs on it. If you're interested in them, you play around with them, see what you think.
Yeah. Good stuff. Bruce, what do you got coming up, buddy?
Really, we're kind of in a holding pattern right now. One thing I'm going to do as soon as I get those frames from Michael, though, I'm going to put them on the hives. That's one thing I got coming up. No pressure, Michael. No pressure at all.
I promise.
I know.
Even if they haven't sent the payment links or anything out tomorrow, they're going out the door tomorrow.
I'm giving you. I understand. It's fine. Whatever you have to do, man. I'm sure you've gotten some orders tonight on this chat, so I hope you get a bunch of orders, and it's tough to get everything out on time. So that would be great. But anyway, in all seriousness, though, I've got them kind of in a holding pattern. I'll just kind of be peeking in, checking on them, but really we don't have a lot of bee action going on right now, or manipulations or hive inspections going on much until we harvest it. I think June 19th is going to be the weekend when we plan to do that. Brian, I want you to know you're invited. We'd love to have you down that 20th and 21st. I think Greg's planning on coming, and you can come on down too if you want, Michael. But we'd love to have you. So I'm going to have Bracken, Jed, and Glader all coming from Utah. And Greg said he might come. So it's going to be a blast. We're going to be pulling honey that weekend. I hope to have a really nice harvest like we did last year. If they go ahead and kind of finish filling these supers up, most of the supers are at least partially filled up, if not completely full. And if they get the honey, ready to go, we'll pull everything above excluders. And I'm looking at 200 plus supers that weekend. Hopefully that's my goal. So that's where we're at. And so really not a lot of bee activity this weekend. I don't have a lot really to do as far as getting in the bees. I've got we talked about the queens earlier in the chat where I've done some grafting, and I like to let them have at least 2 weeks before I get in them after I put the cells in there. So that would be next weekend, not this coming weekend. We would do that. And sometimes I give them even 3 weeks. And so I just want to make sure those little queens have a chance to get mated. I found if you get in them and start messing with them, or at least I've heard, those virgin queens are very jumpy and shy. It can kind of mess them up if you start messing with them or getting into them too early. And so some people just can't seem to stay out of them, but I'll leave them alone. I've learned to do that, and I feel like that maximizes success. So don't have a ton of stuff going on with the bees, believe it or not, in the next few weeks. They're kind of set up. I'm sure I can't keep out of them. I'll be doing a few things here or there, but I'm not going to be doing a lot of bee work in the next couple of weeks. As far as videos go, I got one that's going to drop in the next day or two. It's going to be our my queen one. I've got a couple more down the pike. I think I got one coming where I show how I kind of rob from the poor and give to the rich. We talked about earlier in the video. If you didn't see that, you can go back and watch it. Kind of my philosophy on, we've discussed, just kind of a quick review here. We've discussed in other StreamTeam beekeeping chats about the peril of the talents, how you have your 1 talent hives, your 2 talent hives, and your 5 talent hives. The 5 talent hives you can't hold down no matter what. 2 talent hives are what you would expect, your average, kind of good colonies, steady colonies, but they're not blowing it out. And then the 1 talent colonies, no matter what you do, they kind of survive, but they never really grow. So what I'm doing right now is I'm robbing. I'm taking, if there's any supers on any 1 talent hives that they're not filling them up, they might be surviving, but they're not filling them up. I'll just take them and put them on a strong colony, a 5 talent hive, and just let them fill those things up because I got to maximize my honey production. So that's what we're doing right now. It's been a really fun year so far, and we're kind of in a holding pattern until we harvest, and then it's just gangbusters again for a few weeks, getting everything treated, really truly assessed, and combining and just doing what we got to do. Starting about late June through July and August, it's just a survival mode. Then just trying to, if we have mite problems, get them under control. All the hive beetles, same thing. I haven't seen a lot of hive beetles this year. It's been kind of weird. I've seen a few, but I haven't had any real big problems with hive beetles. But every year, getting July, I don't know if you have them up there where you're at, Michael, but every year we end up with losing a few hive beetles no matter what I do. But I do have a couple of different things I'm going to try this year when I get into some of these colonies that have hive beetles and just see what happens. So, long story or short story long, Brian, that's what I'm going to be doing the next few days.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you here, I got to wait for the weather to improve. It just, Mother Nature just has been relentless in Ohio. We had the crazy winter. Now our spring is just, it's no better. May we've had over twice our average rainfall. It's been brutal. So, but things are going to improve. I think I've got Yeah, like Tom says, next week it's going to get better. I think everything is set up right where it needs to be. Jason caught that to wetter. So I was talking like Elmer Fudd there for a second. It figures he would catch that. I'm going to get a text in a second saying, "What's your wetter looking like?" So, but I think the hives are all sitting where they need to be. I'm going to build them up. If I get to the point with them where I can steal out a frame or two of brood here and there to sneak another colony or two out, I will. If not, then 17 will be it for this year. But I'm sure that I probably can sneak out another split or two or three, get to that 20 mark. And this year, if I go 3 to 20, then that'll be a good season. So, and then beyond that, it's just, managing things and getting things set for the winter. But, so far, I mean, things with the rebuild have been smooth. So, and that's just what I'm going to continue doing. I'm just going to keep, I just got pinged. I'm sure it's probably someone saying about the weather. So, no, probably
Ryan, I want to put a little plug in there for you, though. I mean, honestly, anyone who is just getting started in bees, or if you're not familiar with Brian's channel, I know you're on this live stream tonight, but I think you've had some other people kind of share this. I shared it out. So if you are not familiar with Brian's channel, if you're just getting started in bees, or if you've had some difficulties, he has just put on a masterclass on how he's starting back almost from scratch. He had 3 colonies make it through, and now he's up to 17. And they look good. It's not like you're not splitting them down so thin that they're going to struggle. It looks like you're making them strong enough splits that they're gonna be okay. And he got some packages. Kind of your strategy has been just really fascinating to watch. And so I'd encourage anyone to watch Brian. He's got the heart of a teacher, and he's really sharing what he's doing. And so far it's looking really good. So go over to Brian's channel. If you haven't subscribed tonight, just hit that subscribe button and check out what he's doing. I think you can learn a lot from Brian at Castle Hives.
Appreciate that. Yeah. No, it's been good. And that's where I want everything. I want everything sitting in a good spot. I mean, yeah, I could look at the colonies now, and when they filled out those bottom deeps, yeah, I could have split them in 2 and built my numbers up even higher than what they are right now. But then if we get into these crazy situations, if weather does not cooperate, if there's other, maybe we get into another drought like last year, what good's it going to do? So I just want all the colonies sitting in a good spot. And I think they are right now, but what we'll see. I mean, if I mess something up, well, I show it, just like last year when I lopped off a queen's head with that stupid one-handed queen catcher. So, but oh well. But Michael, what do you got coming up in the next week or so in your bees?
Man, so our prime flows on. Our flow usually goes April to end of June. So I usually extract honey around the 4th of July weekend. All the weather is really messed everything up, all the rain.
Yeah.
Let's start drying out and getting that nice little 10-15% chance of rain every day to kind of keep everything green and moving. I mean, my Vitex bushes haven't even bloomed yet. We're kind of behind in that, but got lots of supers on. I got out in the rain Monday afternoon for about 3 hours, soaking wet, just getting supers put on because I knew I was going to have to get them on, and I'm busy this week. Bees love, being wet.
Right.
So
right.
Just, management, just sitting around for a month.
Yeah.
Seeing if I need to stick an extra super on and just hanging out until 4th of July weekend.
Yeah. Such fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, well, whose channel we're on? Yours next week, right?
That sounds right. Yes, sir. I think so.
Okay. And
so y'all come on over to Bruce's Bees next week. It's
Greg,
8:00 Eastern.
Greg, we don't know. He done. If any of you have ever seen a movie, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I love that movie. Greg done RUNNOFT. So if you're watching this at the last minute, we know that you done RUNNOFT. So, but well, Bruce. Oh, and look at that.
Greg could be in that movie. He'd be a good character. Just give him some overalls, and
I know
he'd be great.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Todd, I'm just seeing that. We will get to your question next week, Todd.
Yeah, we didn't get to everybody tonight. If we missed your question, just save it for next week. Hopefully, we did the best we could.
Yeah,
they can blame me. I talked too long, so
yeah,
not
the stream team.
When you when we were going through that though, Michael, the numbers peaked, so we had a real good crowd in here tonight. Very interested in your product, so you did a great job describing it, and I learned a lot tonight. I mean, I saw them at the conference, but I really didn't know what they were. I know much more about them now, and we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have Greg in here to send things off, and Bruce, you got to step into the role, buddy.
What's he say? Let's remember to be the lighthouse and be the change you want to see in this world. How's that sound?
So remember to light up your house and change the world how you want to change it. Something like that. Is that it?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Just be a good example out there, folks. Do the best you can to be a light to the world.
Yeah, that's it. So and again, the code that's down in the bottom, if you do order some frames from Michael, Jason, thank you much, buddy. Use code StreamTeam. Just when you go through the ordering, go on Facebook, locate him on Facebook. He's got a Google document on there. Use code StreamTeam and you'll get 20% off. So it'll help you out. Try them out. Order a set. Try them. If you like them, order more. So, but like Bruce said, just everybody continue to be kind. Just be that lighthouse for others. And next week we'll be on Bruce's channel. And on that note, y'all take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.